Welcome to the Alive Clinical version. This video was made to introduce you to the many robust graphing options we offer in support of your work with patients. Most likely you've worked with biofeedback training before and have already used the standard version of Alive. If you have not and need further clarification on anything you see in this video, we invite you to visit our forum at somaticvision.com and ask any questions you may have. First, a quick note. Alive now works with two different hardware platforms, which each collect biodata. The main difference between the data collected is that the Wild Divine, IOM finger sensors collect skin conductance level skin sweat measurements, whereas the HeartMath M-Wave sensor does not measure skin sweat. Once you've opened Alive and you're looking at the main menu, press Alive Workshops and select Graph Training. At the top of the Graph Training screen, you'll see the option to select any of 5 graphs. I will first use the option at the bottom of the list, SCL Graphs. Please remember that only the IOM sensor works with SCL, so this option will not be visible if you're using the M-Wave sensor. The SCL line graph helps track changes in arousal over time. Skin sweat has long been used by psychophysiologists as a responsive index of emotion and cognitive process. After pressing the play button, you can see a baseline white line that serves as a reference point for the whole training session. You can adapt the training target zone as you wish by dragging it. This is a very flexible graph. While using it, you can change the sensitivity by using the slider on the right side of the graph. You can also easily add comments or indices while the session is running. Later on, when I review the progress report, I will be able to see the indices and comments I added during the session, and relevant data will automatically be displayed. The line is just reaching the starting SCL level of the zone now. At this stage, if preset, an audio feedback is available so the trainee can have closed eyes and still understand his or her progress toward the target SCL. As the trainee enters the zone, the bar on the left will show the percentage of target SCL that has been achieved. Alive is not just designed to train for stress reduction, it's also designed to train for cultivating arousal, which is useful in cases of depression or in peak performance training. All we have to do is to drag the training zone to the desired range. Now, after the line is in the zone again, notice the bar rising on the left. SCL graphing in Alive also includes real-time scores, maximum, minimum, and average SCL reached in this session. You can also manually set or determine your own target zones for training. When my arousal level is rising, there is an auto range function to ensure we view the whole range of change in the session in real time. We may want to use the flexibility of this graphing by hiding some of the data. I am now adding another index so I can see statistics specific to this section later while I am viewing the progress report. Using the Auto Range button will stretch the Y scale to the whole range from the beginning of the session. Spontaneous fluctuations in the SCL line are another measure of autonomic responses, correlating with intensive cognitive activity and emotional changes. This line graph will head downward as fluctuations are greater. We aim at smoothing this line and for the bar to the left of the graph to reach 100% of the target. Sharp drops in the sweat stability line mean unease or troubled mind. Now we're looking at a graph with both SCL and HRV scores. In this graph, we can see a summary of the HRV scores. When the slider is at the right end of the green zone, we see that we are in a state of high smoothness, also known as high coherence. When the slider is in the red zone, we are experiencing an uneven HRV pattern, showing we are most stressed and that our autonomic nervous system is out of balance. The breath pacer on the bottom left side of the screen is pacing each breath cycle in seconds and is adjustable. The time axis default is showing 4.5 minutes of session. When we wish to see more than this slice of time, we can use the slider on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And a right-left shift will change to broaden or narrow the time period shown. Adding another comment can be needed in such cases as psychophysiological profiling. To summarize, the SCL graphing options are good for arousal control training or for showing the effect of a live body scan technique. SCL graphing is also useful during practice of the zoom out or the mental mini breaks techniques and to train for effortless breathing when aiming to lower arousal and to achieve high smoothness scores. Let's now choose the absolute heart rate graphing from the Choose Graphs drop-down. There are 4 heart rate screens in Alive. The first focuses on the heart rate variability line, the pacer, and the average smoothness score on the bottom. This graph is very useful for the basic HRV training. We can always add indices in this graph as well to demonstrate the effect between different breathing paces or of abdominal versus chest breathing. Now we'll look at the accumulated smoothness graph. This is a very nice graph for breath training under pressure or when training for emotional regulation. The graph shows time in different zones of smoothness. The bars show high, medium, and low smoothness. Values in the middle of the graph show us longest time smooth in seconds, a good measure for resilience training, as well as total and average time smooth. The graph on the left middle section is great to use to follow the changes in accumulated smoothness during the session. When doing exposure CBT therapy or when training for quick recovery, this graph becomes very useful. The last graph option we'll cover is the accumulated and spectral graph. This graph includes a display of the frequency spectrum and the LH-HF ratio. It's very useful when training for effortless breathing to form a spike in the 2 green bars while the rest of the frequencies are kept low. This usually happens when we're at our resonant frequency breathing. High activity in the very low frequency bars to the left of the green bars sometimes may reflect a busy mind or rumination, while the frequencies right of the green bars reflect vagal tone. When we wish to see our progress in training, we can go to the progress report for a highly detailed overview of all training session results. The basic function shows us a comparison between all sessions. We can see detailed session statistics for each session and for each segment we defined by the indices while training. Statistics include changes in HRV, average heartbeat, BPV, SCL, and sweat stability. Thank you for watching this introduction to Alive graph training, which is just an overview of the graph screens and how they can be used in training. We hope you'll find these features support your work, and that you'll use the dual monitor mode to see detailed feedback as your trainees play the Alive games and complete sessions with the many Alive environments. Make sure you visit our YouTube channel for more instructional videos, which are linked from the support page at somaticvision.com.